Hi, engineers. Two loops produce the same output, but only one earns the offer. Can you pick it before we start the stopwatch? So today, let's learn loops in JavaScript. Today we are going to learn what loops are, why we use them, and we will practice the classic loops: for, while, do while, for of, for each, and when to use forIn. We will type small examples, and at the very end we will do a beginner-friendly no-code analogy so it really clicks. Let's rephrase it in plain English. A loop means do this, then do it again, and keep doing it until a stop rule says we are done. Different loops give us different control. Some are perfect when we know how many rounds. Some are great when we stop on a condition, and some are made to walk over arrays or objects. First, we set up small data for our demos. We create a variable named nums as the list 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then, we create a variable named name as the text code crack. And we create an object named user with fields. Name equals Alex, and role equals QA. Let's start with the classic for loop. We use for when we know the exact range, or when we need the index, or when we want a custom step like +2. Let's create a for loop. Inside the header we declare I equal to 0. Then, we add the stop rule. I is less than num's length. After that we add the update rule, increase I by 1 after each round. Inside the loop we write a console log of nums at I. We pick for here because we needed the index and a fixed left to right pass. Let's run it in the terminal so we could check the result. Expected output should be in this order: 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Next, let's look at the while loop. We use while when we do not know how many rounds in advance, and we want to run until a condition flips to false. Let's create a variable named count equal to 5. We write a while loop with the condition count is greater than 0. Inside the loop, we write a console log of count, and after that we decrease count by 1. We pick while here because the stop rule is a condition, not a fixed count. Let's run it in the terminal so we could check the result. Expected output should be in this order: 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now let's talk about do while. We use do while when the body must run at least once even if the condition starts false. Let's create a variable named tries equal to 0. We write do. Inside we increase tries by 1 and then write a console log of attempt number. After that, we write while tries is less than 3. We pick do while when we want at least one guaranteed run before checking. Good. Let's run it in the terminal so we could check the result. Expected output should be in this order: attempt 1, attempt 2, attempt 3. Next, the for of loop. We use for of to iterate over the values of an array or a string without managing indexes. Let's create a for of loop that reads each number into n from nums. Inside the loop, we write a console log of n times n. We pick for of here because we only need the values and it stays clean and readable. Let's run it in the terminal so we could check the result. Expected output should be in this order: 1, 4, 9, 16, and 25. Now, let's check forEach loop. forEach is an array method that acts like a loop. We call nums forEach with a callback that receives n and I. Inside the callback, we write a console log of index I is value n. We use forEach for side effects on every element. But remember, it does not support early break. If we need to stop early, we choose for or for of. Good. Let's run it in the terminal so we could check the result. Expected output should be in this order: index 0 is 1, index 1 is 2, index 2 is 3, index 3 is 4, and index 4 is 5. Looping over a string. A string is iterable, so we can use forOf for that purpose. Let's create a forOf loop that reads each character ch from name. Inside the loop, we write console log of ch. We choose forOf here because it naturally walks character by character. Let's run it in the terminal so we could check the result. Expected output should be in this order: C, O, D, E, C, R, A, C, K. What about forIn, you may ask? ForIn iterates over the keys of an object. Let's create a forIn loop that reads each key K from user. Inside the loop, we add an if statement to keep only the direct properties of user. Why do we use object prototype hasOwnProperty call? Object prototype uses the original built-in method, so it is safe even if user changes its own method. hasOwnProperty answers whether user owns this key, not the prototype chain. Call lets us run that method with user as the target and K as the tested key. If the check passes, we are writing console log of K and user at K. We use forIn for plain object keys. For arrays, we avoid forIn and prefer forOf or forEach. Let's run it in the terminal so we can check the result. The expected output should be in this order: name Alex and role QA. Quick popularity rating to guide your habits. The most used loops are for and while. Very common and friendly are forOf and forEach. Less common for daily array work is forIn, and we keep it for object keys only. Tiny recap of what we typed. For, we declared I, set a stop rule, and updated I each round to read nums at I. For while, we started with count, looped while count greater than 0, and decreased count. For do while, we ran once, then checked. For forOf, we read values into n and squared them. For forEach, we printed both index and value for every element. For forIn, we printed keys and values from user. Now we run the file one more time with only one block active at a time to keep the output clean. Expected results match each section exactly as we described above. For loop results are 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. For while loop 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. For do while loop attempt 1, attempt 2, attempt 3. For of loop over array 1, 4, 9, 16, 25. For each loop, index 0 is 1, index 1 is 2, index 2 is 3, index 3 is 4, index 4 is 5. For of loop over string, C, O, D, E, C, R, A, C, K. For in loop over object, name Alex, role QA. And as promised, no code analogy for beginners. Imagine a bowl of colorful candies. If we know there are exactly 5 candies to hand out, we use for 1 candy per round, 5 rounds. If we keep handing out candies until the bowl is empty, we use while bowl is not empty, then give a candy. If we must taste at least 1 candy no matter what, we use do while. Taste 1 first, then keep tasting while we still want more. If we want to look at each candy in the row without caring about positions, we use forOf for each candy, say its color. If we want to say thank you to every friend in a list, we use forEach. For each friend, say thank you, and we do not stop early. If we want to read labels on a toy box like brand and size, we use forIn. For each label key, read its value. That is the lesson overview and practice. Start with for and while as your main tools. Reach for forOf and forEach for clean array and string work, and keep forIn for objects. In the next exercises, we will use each loop in real interview-style problems so you can choose the right tool with confidence. Now you're 1% smarter. The cheat code is consistency, so keep boosting your brain. Make it your daily routine, and you will nail your next interview. Same rhythm tomorrow at Code Crack Interviews.